Unscripted, unshackled, uncouth.
What you're about to hear is for more mature audiences only.
It's Miguel and Holly, Uncensored.
Hello and welcome to Miguel and Holly Uncensored. It is our off-air podcast that we do 3 times a week on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. We try to always do it live on Facebook and Miguel and Holly YouTube channel, where you can see it now. And if you watch it, if you want to go back and listen, you can always listen on the iHeartRadio app or anywhere you listen to podcasts. Just type in Miguel and Holly Uncensored. And make sure to give us a rating, please. And tell a friend. Like, legit, this weekend, go out, and when someone goes, you know, I really want to get into podcast, but I don't know what to listen to, be like, Miguel and Holly Uncensored.
Yes.
Let's continue to grow the platypus posse.
I love it.
So before we bring on our special guest for the day, how's everybody doing?
Doing pretty good. Doing okay. I was going to actually say, I'm so grateful to the platypus posse, truly, because, you know, obviously this week has been tough for me. It just has been, you know, dealing with the death of a parent is difficult, whether you see it coming or not, I think. But, I'm so lucky to A, have this career, and B, have this network of family members that I don't necessarily know if I would even recognize someone on, like, passing by in the street, but, like, we live in this virtual space that is so uplifting. And it has truly brought me so much comfort. So to, you know, and like all the people that commented online or reached out after we did the podcast, I just so appreciated it, you know? And I thought, because I had been preparing for this moment for a while, and some of the times I would have little conversations with myself in my head, and I'd be like, when my mom dies and I post about it, all these people are going to be like, I'm so sorry for your loss. And I thought I would hate it because I wasn't going to be sorry. I was going to be like, whatever. I was going to have all these other feelings. And then when it actually happened, and that happened, like I knew it would, I really welcomed it because it felt like I wasn't alone and I wasn't going through it alone. So I've just been so thankful for all the posts and the messages and the comments. And there have been some really good comments, like anything, just even like a little heart, super appreciated. But I do want to shout out someone. I don't even know if she listens to the podcast, but she does listen to the live show and she still lives in Florida. Her name is Caridad. And she will call us every now and then early morning and wake us up because she's like, and I love it. She, I think, sent me the best message that I cried at when I read it, because it was all about letting go of what she called the GG. So you've got grieving and you've got guilt. And in her message, she went on to say that they are not related. They're not twins. They don't need to come as a package deal. You don't have to have guilt while grieving, and it's your choice whether you would like to have that or not. Like grieving, you're going to grieve, but you have the option of purchasing the added protection plan of grief or whatever. And it just, it was so impactful. And she went on and to say that she had experienced, the loss of her mother. And so she could relate, and it just really, really helped. So it was, really wonderful just to hear from all of you guys. So thank you. Thank you very much. It's been an up and down thing. It just has been. And I think it'll continue that way for a little while. I don't really know how long I'm going to be in this weird in between, but I'm really trying to do my best at work. So I apologize if I was a little scattered this week or anything. Not even apologize. I'm just thank you for putting up with the scatteredness.
Okay. I'll take that. I'll accept that. Don't apologize.
Yeah. Literally, I drove to my kid's school on Wednesday this week instead of work. So when that happened, when I got like halfway to Maya's school in the morning, which the only reason I realized it is I was like, what are these landmarks? And I never see them when it's dark. And I'm like, wait, where am I? I literally talked out loud to myself. I'm like, God bless it. Where am I going? So when that happened, I was like, okay, I see I'm a little bit, a little foggy, but that's okay. And when I told my person, he's like, but why would you do that? I'm like, I don't know why. I
You're
drive
like,
that
I
way a
wish.
lot.
I don't know.
I've never not driven to work at that hour. I just never have. So it's been weird. But anyway, so I just wanted to update you and thank you very much.
Get it.
Kelvin, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. I feel like this week has been maybe going upwards in a sense. I finally took the time to book and have my mental health therapist session.
Mm-hmm.
And so I started that this week. And then I also am booking a doctor, just like a primary care, because I think I'm going to get a CPAP machine. I think it's about time.
Yes,
Like,
it's
Nothing
totally
like
about
some
time.
good rest.
I need quality sleep, and I
Yes.
haven't had it since 2014.
Jesus
Yeah.
Lord.
And so I feel like I know that with quality sleep, I think I will have more energy throughout the day compared
You
to
will.
what I'm going through right now.
Yes.
And so I just want to put myself first a little bit in the health department. I'm trying though, but it's so hard. It's so hard.
Yeah, I get it.
I used to be so much better at controlling what I'm eating. And I've been off the rail and I don't know why. I mean, I think I do know why. It's a life change living here. It's been different. Food, I find comfort. But this time around, 'cause I've lost weight like about 3 times. But this is like the hardest, I think, trying to get back into a health kick. And so yeah, I'm gonna try to put myself first. And I'm working on that. And I think I've done the most progression this week.
That's really great. I'm so glad to hear you say about going to do the CPAP thing.
Yeah.
Like, I
Mhm.
know it's a pain in the ass. I know. But the way they have them now is so much less intrusive than they were even 5 years ago.
When I had my first one like 15 years ago, it was a mess. It was like a big old giant sitting on my face every night.
I know, it's like an
Oh, no.
elephant mask.
It
It was
was a
crazy.
lot.
My mom had them. So
And I was like in a new relationship at the time, and I was like, so here's this thing. When you sleep over, I gotta wrap this thing around my face. But that was 15 years ago. So
Yeah.
and they've gotten a lot
It's
better
true.
since then. So
even the last one that my mom had, which reminds me, I need to call them because they keep calling me about new CPAP supplies. And I'm like, don't need. And this is all automated. I'm like, there's not a button for someone died. Like, what am I supposed to do? Anyway, they have one. It just is on your nose. And obviously, like, you have to kind of secure it with the things, but it's so much less intrusive.
Good.
So much less intrusive.
Is there
than
really a
those.
difference? Is there truly a difference?
yes,
In what?
like when I had it, when I
In
used
sleeping
when I
with it, you
needed
mean?
yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely.
And you did it during morning hours, like the morning show hours?
What do you mean, like during the week?
You were still doing the morning show, like when you had a CPAP?
Oh yeah.
Mm.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because you're waking up so many times an hour.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That your body is never fully getting the regeneration time. You might,
Right.
like you're on this journey with your eating and health and stuff. You might actually find it easier to lose weight if you're looking for that.
Right.
If your body is in the right state of not just like survival mode.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So that could be a game changer for everything.
Noemi said, "Girl, the CPAP is a game changer. You will feel so much better. My
Oh.
husband has had his for a year, and my hubby has one on the nose.
Oh,
They will come out and fit you to see what's the best comfort for you."
dope. Wait, Miguel, do you still use yours?
No, well, I lost weight.
Got
When
it.
I lost weight, mine was because of my weight issues. So like right now, I probably need one because I'm on the higher end. But then like I'm in the process of losing weight, and so like
Right.
literally because Abe will be like, "Girl,
Snoring.
you sound like you're dying when you
That's-
sleep.
That sounds
Yeah.
just like Abe.
Yeah, you're dying when you sleep." And I'm like, "Ooh." But
Yeah.
then when I lose weight, I sound like a little baby sleeping.
100%. And that's going to take a minute for me because when I lose the weight, I don't need it anymore. Like, I don't snore as much.
Right.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, it can definitely happen. And Stefan asked, what is it exactly? So it's a machine that actually forces, because what happens is with sleep apnea, like your airway, your esophagus closes. And so you stop breathing. You actually, your body, because your esophagus is closed in the middle of it. So you're asleep. You don't realize, obviously, your esophagus has closed and you can't get air in. And so your body wakes up just a little. And often with snoring, you're like, it's like your
Yes.
body forces all of a sudden, because you're dying, to get the air in. And then like slowly it kind of closes again. And I remember from when my mom first discovered she had sleep apnea, she was waking up an average of like 50 times an hour or more, I think. I don't remember.
Mine was 75 when I did my sleep study back in like
it might have been more because hers was like absurd. It might have been more. I was trying to not like be crazy, but like you can wake up like so many times an hour. So your body never fully gets into a state of sleep because it keeps waking itself up to breathe.
Right.
What the CPAP machine does is it forces air, like a constant stream of air. So you put this little thing on your nose and air shoots in there.
Mm-hmm.
And it basically holds your esophagus open so that, you know, as you breathe normally, and you breathe in the air that's just cycling through all the time so that your esophagus stays open and your body can sleep because it's not trying to kill you. So there's that.
Yes. I need that.
So get it. Don't die.
Okay, girl.
All right. Let's welcome to the podcast Miss Soul Worker Stacy.
Hello. How are you guys?
Wonderful, wonderful, Miss Stacy. How are you?
Oh, delightful. So, Holly, I love you. And this has been one of those things that we've talked about for goodness, a long time. It's weird because I'm listening to you talk about the thing with your mom. And it was a year ago yesterday, my mom was officially diagnosed with stage 4 cancer, and she ended up with cancer in her gallbladder duct. And she lost her battle within 7 weeks. It was
short.
It was very short. She had died March 30th. And we've had multiple conversations. And it's so interesting that when you do lose your mom, it's just this really weird, like that's the only way I can describe it. You just go, And Holly and I have very similar experiences with our mothers. So it's even now we're approaching a year and I'm still like, I don't know how to explain it. It's a very interesting process. And you, and those of you who've lost moms and the same thing and that kind of grief, I was listening to the GGs and you're right. It's, you get to choose whether or not you have guilt. And I tell people this in clients all the time, where you can lose somebody, but then you have to keep that perspective of what you can control and what you can't control, and what you've done your very best to do in situations. And you can't look back at it in hindsight. That's not fair to yourself, because you're even a different person you are later on than you were then, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. So, I mean, you continue to change. Like you're continuing to evolve, and you can only do the best you have with what you got right then. But
absolutely,
it's just hard because oftentimes we'll be like, well, you know, I probably could have done better. And my therapist will be like, oh, could you have? How could you have done better?
That was my next question to you. Yeah. Like, let's talk about that. Yeah.
Like, whereas your therapist, I would have been like, bitch, what? You did the best you fucking could, okay?
That's true.
I'm like, okay, so but I could have, like, for a long time when she was at the one place, I was like, I was going to see her twice a week. I could have gone 3 or 4. And I'm like, I could have done that. She probably would have been happier if I had gone 3 to 4. But my therapist is like, but how would that have been for you mentally, emotionally? And I'm like, oh, I would have been a fucking wreck. And she's like, so that actually is not like your best, because you're no longer operating on your best when you are ground down into a powder.
Right.
And I'm like, okay. What you're saying, thank you for that. So it's weird how your brain does that. And like, you know, part of it is the relationship that I had with my mom, and that I just uncovered all of that in therapy in the last 3 years, where it's like, you know, unconsciously on her end, I'm sure, but she made it feel to me like nothing I do is good enough, and nothing I attempt, like I could have done more. Like she's like, oh, that was so great. And like, she never said that. And she was so proud of me. I know that. Like she was proud of, you know, Miguel, you and my accomplishments. And she said she was, and she never said out loud, like, but like some of the things where maybe I put off calling a plumber or whatever, just the way she worded things, or the tone of voice, or like the sighing or whatever, telegraphed to me probably from back when I was a kid when she would do this stuff, is like, I'm disappointed that you're not doing this right now. Like, can you just do it? Just do it. And so that's what's lodged in my head, not like outwardly what she said or whatever. So that was a big struggle. And then struggle throughout caring for her of, I know she's probably judging me deep down, probably. And then, and when she passed, I was like, oh, it's real now. Because I think if they're still there, even if they're suffering, or like my mom was gone, but they're still alive. So there's still a sort of thing where you're like, she might beat this and come around. I don't know. She's a strong lady. And then she doesn't. And so you're like, okay, well, it's final now.
Yeah. I mean, and like you're talking to somebody who my mom was really upset. Like my mom and I were not on good terms when she passed. It was very awkward where she got sick. And when it involves, the gallbladder, the liver, you get the toxins in the brain. She was already a difficult person. And then when she went to get sicker, she turned into an extremely difficult person. I ended up randomly waking up one morning, looking at my husband going, we're going to go to Tennessee. And he was like, your mom's almost like on her deathbed. I'm like, and if she dies, she dies. We're good. And I mean, there are still times where I'm like, well, crap, maybe not have done that. But at the same time, it's like me being here would have been even more difficult.
Right.
And I did the right thing right before she passed. She had fallen, and I knew because you guys know how I roll. I had a dream. This is a perfect thing where everyone's like, oh, do you get to hear about yourself? Sometimes. I had a dream about 7 months prior to her being diagnosed, and God told me, okay, she's going to leave now. You're getting a new grandbaby. Cycle's happening. Your mom's getting ready to go. Check her stomach. And so when my mom started complaining of her stomach, I'm like, it's your gallbladder. And my mother was not the biggest believer in what I do. And she wasn't the biggest supporter of what I do. And so it was very difficult for her to grasp it completely. So she was just like, yeah, okay, Stace. And as things got worse, and when I even told her what it was before she was diagnosed, and of course I was blown off. And I think that was a big part of denial for her. And so when everything came to be, I told her, I was like, you're going to fall. And when you fall, you're going to end up in the hospital. And then that's where you're going to pass. So when she fell, I called my brother and I was like, all right, how is she? What's going on? Let me talk to her. I don't care if she doesn't want to talk to me, because I knew within a couple of days she would be gone. And I was right. And it's weird because like what you just said about them rallying, she was asleep and I'm sitting here going, she's going to wake up. She's fine. Just any minute now. She's okay. And all of a sudden she just stopped. And I'm like, whoa, wait a second. Hold on. No. Like she's supposed to get up now. And it's hard, And then there's something else that people don't really talk about. This really weird empty feeling like, the final, that hasn't gone away from me yet. Like it still feels like it just happened. I'm still kind of in that fog of my mom's gone. It's weird. I don't know how to explain it. There's no one way of like, okay, well, you grieve and it's over. It just kind of meanders with you a little bit. It just changes, if that makes sense.
Yep.
I feel like from what my mom has described from my grandmother passing, because like obviously like I've been very sad, but like that was my grandma who, I mean, I lived with her and she was part of, raising me. But like my mom will be like, I'm really stressed out today, and I would talk to my mom, and now I don't have that person. And she's like, I can call you and I love you. You're my son, but you're not my mom. And it's just like little things like that will just bring up a little tinge of pain where it's like she'll go a couple of days and like she'll think about her every day, but it's not like overwrought grief. And then just every now and then she'll just be like, I don't have a mom.
Yeah.
It's weird. I think that is a thing because I know a lot of people have messaged me throughout the journey. Oh, my grandfather is going through the same thing. I know exactly how you feel. And I know you think you do because it is the same. But when it's your parent, even if like your grandparent raised you, like Miguel, your grandmother raised you partly, like it is a tiny bit different when it is your actual parent.
100%.
Yep.
Because it's almost, and I'm not trying to like, there's no, competition in pain, like whose pain is more. Your pain is the same. The pain is the same,
right?
But there's a difference in it. And so with that being a parent, I said we had a great message from Cuddy Dodd, who was with the GG and the double guilt, someone yesterday, I saw a comment, and I'm trying to at least like all the comments, which have been so great. But nobody had said this, and this just made me start crying in the middle of my LaCroix because I'm going through liking. Oh, that's so sweet. Oh, here, I'm going to type a quick 2 hearts as in response. And somebody said something, a little bit of a longer comment that was like, you know how you feel, something, and I don't have my mommy anymore either. And it was this grown woman. And I was like that word, slapped me.
Is that right? You even talking yeah.
I was like, what?
I know.
It's crazy to say that. And that was what happened yesterday.
It doesn't go away.
Not since I was 5, but I was like, what? So anyway, just hits you at weird points.
Yep. And yesterday I was having a lot of medical issues. Thanks, Holly. No.
Sorry, I'm good.
Me next.
I'm wiping up.
Gotta let some shit go.
Yeah,
I'm ready.
Open the cry now. Come on, y'all. Let's get him.
Anyway, so I've been dealing with a lot of health issues. I decided to throw a good bomb on Miguel right before we get started. So my stuff going on with my autoimmune stuff is now affecting my heart. Yeah. And the word congestive heart failure is being used a lot more than I want it to be used. And I get out of these doctor's appointments, and the very first thing I want to do is call my mom and be like, hey, listen to me, or hey, this is just what's going on. I don't have it. And even though her and I had a difficult relationship, it was just to have that person to catch.
Yeah. And
I don't have it. And I've been finding myself dealing with a lot of different things lately by myself because I don't have my mom. And it's bizarre. It's just bizarre because you don't appreciate it when you have it. If that makes sense in a way. No. And that's where I get my guilt, because even though I'm like, oh, I can be fine if she's gone. I'll be fine if she's gone. I'll be fine.
I was like, I'll be better.
Right.
And part of it is true, by the way.
Yes.
Part of that is true. And I don't know. I'm sure that sounds so shitty, but I was the life was being sucked out of me.
Yes. I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm learning a lot through this, this transition that Holly is going through, because one, I've never had a friend lose a mom. But also two, calling out the fact that there is some sort of resentment from childhood trauma, but also finding a way through that, but also still feeling grief. And so ironically, last night before going to bed, and I told this to Miguel, I was just recalling all the awful shit my mom put me through. And I was going to bed so angry. And so I don't know if maybe Stacy or Holly, if you have any advice for me right now, because I mean, eventually she is going to pass, but right now I'm in such a bad place with my mom, but I see the hurt that you guys are going through. So I don't know. I'm thinking. So
this is it's interesting because I was almost going to bring this up a little while ago. So I'm a big watcher of TikTok, and I just like watching different people and learning different things about different people. And one thing that I see a lot about is how angry everybody is with their moms. And even right now, I'll put all my stuff on TV and the radio. I don't care. Both of my girls aren't speaking to me. I'm toxic. I'm a narcissist. I'm mean. I'm a horrible human being. And because I didn't give them what they needed. Now, picture back 20 years ago. I was a mom in an abusive relationship, trying to hold it all together, being an at-home, giving everything I had. And from my perspective as a mom, I was doing everything I could, not understanding my tone, not understanding how I dealt with things, not understanding that even though, and I have ADHD and I'm autistic, so not being regulated the way I should have been because I was never diagnosed. My kids got the brunt of that. And sometimes, and this is the one thing that's helped me with my mom and probably makes me feel even shittier as a daughter, was being able to understand her perspective. And understanding that even those times where she was just a giant asshole, it wasn't about me. It was more about her. And it was more about... Do you know what I'm saying? And sometimes because we have a hard time disassociating our kids as not part of us to an extent, because, you know, they came out of us, for God's sakes. They're our children. And I had always a hard time of like, crap, it's not about them, it's about me. I get to focus, pull myself in. But sometimes we forget to, because we're people too. So try to get, not saying that she has excuses, because you and I have talked and I know things, but try to think about the different perspective of like, it's never been an intentional, oh, hey, you're a son of a bitch and I hate you and let me make life miserable. It's, as people, we turn to be very self-centered and selfish in our own crap a lot of the time, especially to our kids.
Yeah.
And I think when you really start to think about like your parents' experience in their life, like I had this memory unlocked this weekend where I had totally forgot that my mom had gone through this period where like I had seen her be physically assaulted by a guy. And like that's a story I used to tell about like how I was in my room. We had just moved back to Atlanta and like he was beating her. And then like I didn't know what the sounds were. I walked out and I saw her looking all crazy and bloody. And then she was like, run. And then I had to run out and then like go to a neighbor's place to like call my uncles. And I'm like, I'd totally forgotten about that. But then you have these times when I was in high school that I'd be so mad at my mom, be like, why didn't she make it to my play? Or why didn't she? Because not only had that happen, but then I was conceived through rape and she was kidnapped and she was molested and she's had all these traumas. Yeah. And I'm like, I have to give her the space. She did the best that she could in what tools she had available to her at the time. Does that make it okay? Who knows? But she did the best that she could with the tools that she had. And so I feel like sometimes we have to just give our parents a little bit of grace as we, as millennials and Gen Zers, are going to therapy and learning about these things and being like, hey, you did the best that you could.
Right. And most of us, too, something that a lot of people don't understand that are in their 20s and teenage years and, you know, people our age, when we were growing up, our parents were busy working. We raised ourselves. It was called dinners in the microwave. Show up by 5 or 6 o'clock when the lights are on. Good luck. Call me if you need
sandwiches. Yes.
Right, but you better be dying if you call me, and if everything else is fine. And that that's how I grew up. So it's like, I know that when I raised my girls, especially, it was, I'm not working. I don't care if we're eating nothing but pasta. I'm going to give you 100% because I never had the parents there at the plays. I never had the parents to show up. I never got to be part of the extracurriculars when I was growing up. So my kids were like, this is what you're going to do. I'm going to be a part of it. I'm going to be on top of it all the time. And a lot of people are like, well, your girls just don't know what it's like to be without a mom. And it's interesting how things have turned around that way too. You know, so entitlement and all that stuff. It's very interesting to see all of our therapy has turned into us being really great parents. But you know,
with millennials, starting, I think, with elder millennials, is we're all going to therapy.
Yes.
And we're trying to figure out, okay, we got to figure out the past to figure out the present to help plan for the future for our kids. And like, it's not necessarily their fault that like the boomers and the Gen Xers didn't go to therapy. It's because it was frowned upon.
Can't talk about your feelings.
Crazy person if you went to see a shrink.
Yep.
Like there's something wrong with you. They're going to lock you up. So you just kept it in.
Can't talk about suicide. Can't talk about how you're feeling because everyone was ready to put you away. Yeah.
I mean, think about it now. Could you imagine if Obama, even Trump or Biden, Bush, if any president said, I go to therapy?
They'd be like, to be president.
They'd be like, oh, no, you're out. No, not the fact that you've done all these other horrible things, but you actually went to go get help for yourself. Like that's still looked at as a political liability if you go to therapy. So that's how much work we still have to do.
I'm telling you, even to this day, like, yes, it's so much more acceptable. And millennials have made this whole, they've laid down the path to be like, are you in therapy? Well, what's wrong with you that you're not? But in the police departments,
yes,
it is still seen as weakness to go to therapy.
Yes.
That's what's wrong with this situation. It is wild. Like the one profession that needs it the most is in this like lockstep brother and sisterhood of I'm better than that. Not thinking like better than the people that get it, but like I'm above, so I clearly don't need it. You need it the most.
Right.
But like none of them will do it because it's seen as weakness.
To add on to that, everyone's journey in life is so different and it's all about perspective. And so when I hear Holly talk about how Maya's complaining about something and Holly will be like, well, how do you feel about that? And then I don't know, maybe she'll complain and be like, no, you're too on top of me or whatever. And I'm like, man, if I wish my mom could have asked me back in the day how I felt about something. But in my perspective, it's, oh my God, she's on top of me.
Yeah.
So it's just
so bizarre
It's
to parent
so
in
weird.
this. Like my mom, you just didn't, like my mom was actually a fantastic mother for a young child. But like there came a certain point, probably around the time she had cancer or my brother was born, where it's like, you're not a little baby anymore. You better do shit. Go do your shit. You're the oldest one. I'm relying on you. I'm gonna lean on you. Like I was parentified. Like I was a second parent in the home. I had to listen to like her troubles. I was like a spouse to her, and so there was all this stuff that suddenly I went from being like babied and like my mom was this mom to like suddenly it's like, what did you say? Or like whatever. And so my feelings stopped mattering. That's what I was telegraphed. Like my feelings didn't matter anymore. As long as she was okay, I was okay. I'm safe because she would have these like blow ups. And then as soon as they started, they would be done. And it's like, we didn't talk about it. I'm like, okay, we got to stop this person from. So that's why I'm like a people pleaser. And I'm like, let's everybody stay calm. I don't like confrontation. So I try with Maya to make sure she's heard and her feelings are valid. But it's so hard because since we're the first generation that's doing this with our kids, we don't know what the fuck we're doing. We just know we don't want to do it like they did it.
Right.
And so now it's like, we're sort of creating monsters where it's like, well, how are we feeling about everything? And like, I'm like, how are you feeling? And she's like, perfect example is all of the stuff. Like I pick my daughter up from school every single day. I attend every from noon on event at the school. I'm out here doing like, all the things. But the one thing I can't do with any sort of consistency, like once in a blue moon, I can go do a thing if they have like a muffins for mom in the morning. I can't do it. This is my job. This is literally, I have like a small amount of hours in the day when I have to be in a studio. And that's the one thing that she notices. Never mind all the other shit that I do. Never mind all the other shit that she gets and she buys and she has and she's able to blah because I'm pretty lenient. But she's legit. And I'm not trying to discount her feelings. She is legit like, all the other moms are there and you're not there. I hate your job. And I just want you to be there with me in the morning. And I'm like, it's hard because I'm like...
Man,
like
you want to go and say, do you know what I went through? And we can't say that.
Can't say that. And not only, and she's a kid, so she doesn't even have the full perspective that I do.
Right.
And she doesn't see all the things that I do. And it's not her job to do it.
Right.
It's my job to quietly do it in the background. She just experiences it. But I really struggle with that one. I even have it written down in some notes for either a blog or who knows what. But I'm just like, how do I make you understand that you're actually getting more than a lot of other kids? You're getting more than what I got. You're getting all this and you're fixated on the one thing I cannot do. And it's making me feel like a shitty parent. But that's what we deal with. I don't know.
It's human nature though. We do that as adults.
Yeah.
I think that part is, hello, Kat. I think that's completely human nature. And it's interesting because with the boys, I'm like with Holly, it's like, how are you feeling? What do you want? What do you want this? My youngest does the same thing where he's like, wait a minute. You can't be a part of what do you mean? What? And like tears, everything. I'm like, look, friend, this is how this is going to go down. Sometimes there's disappointment. So it doesn't mean that I'm not with you, spiritually or in your heart. And I'm going to hear about it. I'm going to videotape it, all of this stuff. It's not the same. You're right. But this happens. So it's being a parent is hard, man. And that was the other thing I was going to talk to you guys about too. Not just with parents, but our friends, our family. We need to have a little bit of softer hearts with people. There's so much going on in the world today. There's so much stress. There's so many things that are scary. Everyone kind of has chips on their shoulders lately, and everyone wants to be really quick to react. And I'm just saying, y'all, chill, like have perspective a little bit, because you never know. What
do you feel is happening right now Like, what is happening in the world? Are we coming to a lighter time? What are you feeling?
I really
What are you
sincerely.
sensing?
Yeah, I want to go live underground somewhere.
Stacey's been saying this for like the last 6 months. So you just build a bunker and throw some peaches in it. I mean, we need to.
That's it. Like, man, I'm sitting here going, this is insane. We grew up like hearing about this kind of stuff, like with the Cold War and everything. And now you're like, whoa, like this is really happening. Like this is some real stuff happening. And if, you know, some people are like, oh, it's end times if you read the Bible, other times of World War III. Either way, we're screwed right now. Like,
well, that's
worse
what
than like 2020 and 2021.
It was the warm up.
it was the warm up. It was
the opening act.
22 was like, okay.
Yeah. No, I mean,
Even
I
that
thought
toilet
that.
paper.
Like during this whole spy balloon thing last weekend, I kept thinking to myself, I'm like, I feel like there's, you know, we only as just the regular citizens get like a little bit tiny of the story.
Yeah.
So there's always the whole glacier underneath the ocean of like what actually is going on, what's actually happening. And I'm like, is this the precursor to like some crazy shit going on? Like, what's going on?
Yes. And that's the thing that bugs me so much about what I can do is because y'all know that I'm never wrong, knock on wood. And I'm sitting here feeling different things, knowing different things. I'm like, well, holy hot damn. Like, really, y'all? Like, it's very like
go into our jobs every day. By the way, like what?
Well, yeah, and it blows my mind because I'm like, I'm sitting here literally. I've had these conversations with my husband. Like, maybe we should go buy some chickens. Maybe I'm just gonna like. I'm gonna go start. I have a little farm back there, just because. And I've never been a big doomsday prepper, nothing like that. But I'm like, it makes you start thinking,
right?
Like because we've become so reliant on electronics, and no, how seriously, which one of you guys actually have cash on you right now?
I have $20.
That's my point. I remember back in the day, it'd be like, "Oh, we're big pimping. We got $200 in cash. Nobody carries cash anymore. What's going to happen?" And all we need is a power outage, at the very least. And so that's where I'm like, man. So, and then you think about the spiritual warfare at hand with all of this as well. You know that's a thing. So I'm just saying.
When you say that, what does that mean?
So if you ready for some deep crazy stuff? Why not, right?
I love deep crazy stuff.
We're here for it. That river over there is drying up, and it's even said by different religions and everything, demons are supposed to be coming out of that.
Which river?
I cannot pronounce it to save my life right now.
We gotta know which one.
The Haiti. What is it called? It's a biblical river. We gotta look it up. Look it up. Anyways, it's drying up. And like there's a whole thing about demons coming out of it. It's part of that end times thing. You got good angels, bad angels, all the stuff.
Euphrates?
Yes.
Okay.
Rhymes with Hades.
It does. That's why I'm like Hades. I have brain fog, y'all.
No, it runs through Turkey, Syria, and Iraq.
That's my point. And look at the earthquakes. Y'all.
That's not.
Play some REM. It's time. End of the world, yo.
Okay. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. All this shit that I'm trying to like impart on my kid, it don't matter anyway. What the hell? Oh,
Nothing matters.
Nothing matters.
Eat that cheeseburger. Go get some fries.
At this point, I'm watching you about the weight loss, and I'm like, yep. What's the point?
I'm going to Paris, bitch. Past lives hometown.
But there's some deep stuff going on, and y'all, I'm serious when I say it. When you're feeling yucky and you're feeling gross and you feel extra heavy, because you guys are going to start feeling a lot more of that lately coming on.
Yesterday.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. You're feeling the energies coming out that are being released from these earthquakes and in the center. I mean, I sound like one of those crazy.
Sending to like 5D. Like, what is going on?
It's wild that you say that, though, because I have been feeling heavier lately.
Yeah.
And not physically. But I have been feeling internally like there's so many dark things happening all at once.
Yeah. And it's called get yourself outside, take your shoes off. I don't care how cold it is. And either pray or get yourself surrounded some white light. I mean, bring some goodness out in this world. Be as nice as you can to people. And I'm serious. And my husband thinks I'm a crackhead, which I probably am. I'll go and I'm not trying to say this to go pat myself on the back. I'll get extra food when we go grocery shopping, or even if I go get to-go food and drop it off to random, homeless people. You gotta be nice to people. If someone's in your way in traffic, bless them, and then just be patient because you never know what they're going through. Mm-hmm. And just today's whole message from me is just be nice, y'all. People's hearts are hurting big time, more than we can even completely understand.
No, this is true. I mean, the way that the robbings? No, not robbings. People are stealing
Robberies?
from people. Robberies.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
My brain is literally done.
Girl, I got you.
Robberies.
I'm talking about the Hades River. We're good.
Literally, my brain was just stuck there. It was just like, like that, where it's like you watch the news and it's just like, oh my gosh, like people are desperate right now and they just don't know what they're doing.
When you say watch the news, what even is that? What is the news? Every single news outlet has its own agenda.
What we're told we can watch? No.
Yes. Apparently protests going on in France that I had no awareness of whatsoever. I feel
like when it comes to the local news, like they're pretty like, here's what's happening. I feel
what's happening in your city, yes.
Right, but especially with CNN, like once they change leadership, and like I don't watch any of that. Well, I stopped watching cable news during the Trump era because I was like, I can't do that anymore. Yeah. But just about like what's going on in your community, I'm like, even just that, like in Charlotte, and I still see what's happening in Florida through stuff I see on Instagram from the news outlets. And it's just like, there's just always stuff going on. And I'm like, people are just going nuts.
No, and those other countries are looking at us going, those fools. Like, we are the laughing stock right now. No one's intimidated by us like they used to be. We're being surrounded as it is. If you've ever paid attention to the news, Russia is literally surrounding us completely right now. They have submarines on both coasts right now on each side. I'm just saying.
Well, that's not great.
No, but
go ahead and eat them cheese fries.
I'm gonna
make that. That's gonna be the title of the podcast. I think. Eat them cheese fries.
Eat them cheese fries. It could be the comfort food from our moms.
I know.
Full circle.
That's why I started eating a bunch of pasta last weekend.
Yeah.
Before we're done, Stacey, give us something positive before we go.
Sincerely, we are alive. We all have each other. Look at how great this is that we're all linked together through this wonderful family and amazing listeners. I mean, life is good. We are blessed beyond measure. We are blessed.
Kelvin, give us something positive.
I've got a lot of weed left in my house.
Hey!
So
you're good.
I'm blessed as well.
Holly, give us something positive before we go.
Let's see what's positive. My life has slowed down a little bit. Like every time the phone rings, I'm not panicked. The instant sort of release that came with my mom's death has been noticed. Like I'm not meant to be like running around like a chicken with my head cut off daily. So that's, to me, has been peaceful. It's been quiet. So that's good. There's always other stuff going on with my person and his kid and there's stuff and him, but
that's the boss battle of your life. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I thought this one was, but this was like the one that you do before you get to the
right.
The
it's like strong, but
yeah. So all that, but I feel pretty calm, and we're in the end game, like I keep telling him. So this year, I know for a fact that one way or the other, we're gonna get answers and settlements on things. So we're in the end game now, and I like that. That's positive.
My positive for the week is, or just in general, is there are just times in this first year of marriage that I will be like, holy shit, I'm married. Like I have I never thought that was gonna happen. And then there are times that I look at Abe and I'm like, I could just fucking kill you right now. And then there are times that I have this love that I never thought I was capable of that just pours out of me. And I look at him and I'm like, I've never felt more safe and more comfortable with someone than I do with you right now. And it's just such a really cool feeling to have.
Like being seen.
Yes.
Actually seen.
Most definitely. I mean, literally the other day when I've been going through my like keto flu or sick or whatever, like
FIBA.
I was like, literally, I was like, I want to sit on the couch in my underwear, in my little blankie, and I'm gonna just look crazy. My hair look crazy. I look crazy. And he was just like, you look so cute right now. And I'm like, that's not the word I would use about how I look right now. But I love you for it. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, Stacy, what's your social media people can follow and book a session with you?
At Soulworker Stacy Renee. At Soulworker Stacy Renee for Instagram. And then my website, please, soulworkerstacyrenee.com. And I am accepting sessions. Just be patient. Things are a little crazy right now.
Love it. Thank you, Stacy. Holly, what's your social media?
Radio Holly, TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram.
Kelvin?
At Kelvin Live, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, and something soon.
OnlyFans. And mine is Miguel Fuller. You can find me on TikTok, Instagram, Be Real. And also, if you have a Peloton, add me on there. I'll be back riding again next week. Add me on Peloton. Right. Miguel Fuller. We'll see y'all next week. Bye.
Miguel and Holly Uncensored.
Catch it on the iHeartRadio app or anywhere you listen to podcasts.